On the third morning of the month, Margaret, now 72 years old, steps outside to her mailbox the same way she does every day. She hopes her bank statement has finally arrived, but instead she notices a thin white envelope from the Social Security Administration. She brings it into the house and opens it while sitting at her kitchen table. And within seconds, her hands start shaking. The notice says she was paid more money than she was supposed to receive. It says she now owes the federal government over $9,000. And it warns her that within 30 days, the agency will start withholding half of her monthly benefit until the full amount has been repaid. Margaret has just $312 left in her checking account. Her rent is due in less than 2 weeks. She never made a mistake. She never lied. She never hid a single dollar of income. But that letter does not care about any of those facts. And right now, all across the country, thousands of seniors are opening that same envelope and feeling that same terrifying wave of panic. Today, I want to guide you through one of the most disturbing Social Security policies retirees have faced in many years. It is called the Overpayment Recovery Rule. Under this policy, the SSA has the legal authority to take away a large share of your monthly payment, even if the mistake was entirely theirs and not yours. But please stay calm. You still have options available to you. Over the next several minutes, I'm going to explain exactly what this policy means, what legal protections are available to you, and the 3 specific forms that can stop the SSA from reaching into your monthly check. And please remain with me until the very end, because there is one very common mistake, a mistake countless seniors make the moment that letter arrives, that can cost them thousands of dollars and many sleepless months of stress. I'll explain exactly what that mistake is and how you can avoid it completely. Let me tell you about Robert. Robert is 67 years old. He retired 3 years ago after working 41 years as a maintenance supervisor at a hospital in Ohio. He is careful, organized, and responsible. He pays every bill as soon as it arrives. He reads every government letter delivered to his home. About 2 years ago, Robert accepted a small part-time job at his local church, working just 12 hours a week, helping with bookkeeping duties. The income was small, but it helped him manage the growing cost of his wife's medications. Robert did exactly what he was supposed to do. He called Social Security and honestly reported the additional income. The representative told him, "Thank you, Mr. Robert. We'll update your file immediately." Robert hung up the phone feeling relieved. He had done everything correctly. He had followed every rule. Then 18 quiet months passed. His payments continued arriving on time. He assumed everything had been handled properly. Then, one normal Tuesday morning, Robert checked his mailbox. The letter inside informed him he had been overpaid by $14,200. It explained that the SSA had failed to adjust his benefits after he reported his part-time employment. It informed him that within 30 days, they would begin withholding 50% of his monthly Social Security payment until the entire amount had been recovered. Robert slowly sat down in a kitchen chair and cried. He had followed every instruction correctly. He made the call, he reported the job, he had even written the date of that phone call on his calendar. But this is what I call the Robert trap. And please pay very close attention because this is exactly where many seniors lose everything. Robert became so overwhelmed by the letter that he placed it inside a drawer. He told himself, "I'll deal with this next week after I've had some time to calm down." He waited 32 days. On day 31, the SSA automatically started withholding half of his payment. And because he failed to submit the correct form during that 30-day period, he lost the automatic pause that would have stopped the collection process while his case was under review. Robert did not lose half his benefits because of something improper he did while working. He lost half his monthly income because he waited too long before responding. Now let me explain exactly how this policy works and how to make certain this never happens in your own household. Let me break this down in simple, plain language. What exactly is an SSA overpayment? An overpayment happens when the Social Security Administration sends you more money than they later decide you should have received. This can happen for many different reasons. You returned to work, your marital status changed, you relocated to another state, or, and this is the part that surprises nearly everyone, the SSA simply made a mistake inside their own internal calculations. According to reports from the SSA Inspector General, tens of thousands of overpayments occur every year because of agency errors, not because seniors failed to report something correctly, But here is the difficult truth. Federal law still requires the SSA to recover that money even if the mistake was completely their fault. The new withholding policy is the major change. On March 7, 2025, the SSA publicly announced that it would begin withholding 100% of a beneficiary's monthly payment to recover overpayments. That policy officially took effect on March 27, 2025. For nearly 1 month, seniors throughout the United States suddenly lost their entire Social Security checks overnight. After intense public backlash along with pressure from AARP and multiple members of Congress, the SSA issued emergency message 255029 on April 25, 2025, reducing the default withholding rate back to 50% of the Title II benefit. That is where the policy currently stands today. If an overpayment notice arrives in your mailbox, the SSA can legally withhold half of your monthly Social Security payment every month until the debt is completely repaid. For supplemental security income, also called SSI, the withholding rate remains 10%. Why? Even when you personally did nothing wrong, the rule still applies. The Senior Vice President of Government Affairs at AARP explained it clearly. Overpayments are often actually the fault of Social Security itself, and punishing seniors for mistakes made by others simply is not fair. But the law remains the law. And at this moment, the SSA collection process begins automatically unless you take immediate action yourself. The 3 forms that protect you. This is the most important section of today's discussion. Please take out a pen and write these down carefully. Form SSA 561, Request for Reconsideration. You file this form if you believe you were never actually overpaid or if you believe the amount listed is incorrect. Form SSA-632, Request for Waiver of Overpayment Recovery. You file this form if you agree there was an overpayment, but the mistake was not your fault, and you genuinely cannot afford to repay the money. Form SSA-634, Request for Change in Overpayment Recovery Rate. You file this form if you accept the debt but cannot financially survive if they take away 50% of your monthly benefit. This next point is critical. If you submit the wrong form, you may completely lose your protections. Many seniors file an appeal when they should have requested a waiver instead. Meanwhile, the SSA continues removing money from their checks, your legal rights. Here is what the law guarantees you. You are entitled to a 30-day grace period starting from the date printed on the notice before the SSA can withhold even $1. Use those 30 days wisely. If you submit either an appeal or a waiver within that 30-day window, the SSA is required to stop all collection activity until they make a decision regarding your case. This protection is written directly into their official policy guidance. You also have the right to call 1-800-772-1213 and request a lower withholding amount based on financial hardship. What happens if you ignore the letter? If you take no action for 30 days, here is what the SSA is legally allowed to do. They can automatically begin withholding up to 50% of your monthly benefit. If you are no longer receiving benefits, they can seize your federal tax refund, including your earned income tax credit, through the Treasury Offset Program. They can garnish your wages if you later return to work, and they do not need a court order to do it. And if you pass away before the balance is repaid, the SSA may seek repayment from family members collecting survivor benefits tied to your earnings record. This is not a minor issue. This is the retirement income you depend on, and it can be cut in half because of a single piece of mail. Now, let's make sure this never happens to you. Here are the 3 exact steps every senior should follow. Step 1. Open every SSA envelope the same day it arrives. If a letter from the Social Security Administration arrives at your home, open it immediately that same day. Write the date you received it in the upper right corner of the notice. That date begins your 30-day legal protection period. Do not, and I want to repeat this clearly, do not place that letter into a drawer the way Robert did. Every day you wait brings you 1 day closer to losing half your monthly benefit. Step 2, submit the correct form during the 30-day window. If you believe an overpayment never happened, submit Form SSA-561. If you agree it happened but it was not your fault and repayment would create financial hardship, submit Form SSA 632. If you only need a lower monthly withholding amount, submit Form SSA 634. You can download all three forms for free from ssa.gov/forms. You can also call the SSA directly at 1-800-772-1213 and ask them to mail the correct form to your home address. The moment your form is submitted, the law requires the SSA to stop collection activity while they review your situation. Step 3. Keep records of every phone call, letter, and document. Buy a simple folder and label it Social Security. Inside that folder, store copies of every letter you receive, every form you submit, every confirmation number, and notes from every phone call you make to the SSA, including the date, time, and the name of the representative you spoke with. If Robert had maintained written records of the phone call where he reported his part-time income, his waiver request likely would have been resolved within only a few weeks. Your records are your protection. 3 simple habits. They can save you from thousands of dollars in losses and many months of sleepless worry. Before you leave, there is something very important I want to tell you, and I need you to hear this carefully. YouTube does not send notifications for every video that gets published. The platform's algorithm decides what you see and when you see it. That means the next time the SSA changes a policy or your Medicare premium increases or the IRS rewrites a retirement tax rule, the warning may never reach you quickly enough. I do not want that to happen to you. That is why I created an official WhatsApp channel dedicated to senior alerts. Joining is completely free. Here is what you receive when you sign up. A free copy of the Senior Benefits Protection Guide, a detailed step-by-step PDF listing every form number, every phone number, and every deadline you need to protect your Social Security, your Medicare, and your pension. And real-time updates sent directly to your phone whenever the SSA, Medicare, the IRS, or the TSA changes a rule affecting seniors. Tap the link in the description beneath this video. Join the community we have built together. Download your free guide today and make sure that the next time an envelope appears in your mailbox, you already know exactly what actions to take. You spent your entire working life earning these benefits. You paid into the system with every single paycheck, and no policy, no envelope, no administrative mistake should ever be allowed to take those benefits away from you without resistance. Stay informed, stay protected, and I'll see you again in the next video.